Welcome to Freaks and Creeks, a Dawson's Creek podcast, the show where four millennials who missed the boat 25 years ago take the dive for the first time. Join us as we experience the series with a fresh perspective week to week and see if our adolescent experiences match up with Dawson and the gang. My name is Cody.
I'm Stella.
I'm Mallory.
And I'm James, and today we are talking about Season 0, Episode 0, Intro, the intro to our podcast. And if we've done everything right, this is probably the very first thing you are hearing about this show. You might not even know who we are or what we're doing here, so that's exactly what we're trying to answer today. Who is this show for? What is this show about? And why should you be listening to it? So who is this show for? This show is mostly for first-time watchers. I think that we can all agree that is our experience. All of us are coming to the show Dawson's Creek with a fresh perspective, meaning that this is our first time seeing the show. Is that correct, everybody?
First time.
First time, long time?
That's correct.
Basically, yes.
Basically, yes. Well, that sounds like a complicated answer. Stella, why don't you elaborate on that? Are you our resident Dawson's Creek expert?
I am definitely the expert here. Honestly, I am not an expert in anything really, but
Can I ask you an expert question?
let's hear it.
What's Dawson's last name?
Leary.
What's Pacey's last name?
Hold on. It's on the tip of my tongue. Hold on. Pacey. Oh my gosh.
Expert Schmepster.
Oh my gosh. Wait, Witter.
Oh,
Yes.
in the 11th hour.
We got an expert in the house.
Thank
Yep.
you. That was a close one.
That was close. Good job, Stella.
Thank you. Yeah, so I watched episodes here and there as a young kiddo, and don't really have any clear memories of how the show turns out, or I don't even know if I saw how the show ends or anything like that. But I do just remember watching bits and pieces. But ultimately, that was 15 years ago or something. So it is kind of like I'm watching it for the first time.
And I think that's pretty representative of most of our experiences. Some of us may have seen a few minutes or clips here and there, but for the most part, we're all coming to this for the very first time, like 20 plus years later. And we're kind of trying to figure out, like, is this show good? Like Dawson's Creek is such a big thing from the 90s that I know I remember from being a child, but what is this show actually about? Who is it for, and why is it important? Those are what the questions we are trying to answer with our show.
I also think that, people who were big fans of the show might enjoy this podcast. I think it could be funny for them, experiencing it through our lens.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know anything about this show. So if you know a lot about this show, if you're like completely spoiled, don't spoil us, but enjoy us either getting it really wrong or really right without knowing. That can maybe be fun for you. You let us know.
At the point of this recording, we've probably watched half of season 1,
Yes.
and it's already very apparent that our perspective is wrong in the eyes of Dawson Creek's fans. I am very firm in my position through 6 episodes that I hate Pacey, and I think everyone that's sitting in a chair in my in my visibility right now can also agree that Pacey sucks.
Yeah.
Everyone that I know that loves Dawson's Creek thinks Pacey is a gift from God.
Yeah.
They do not understand how we could hate Pacey. So it's that kind of perspective that I think is pretty interesting for hardcore fans to listen back to. Maybe we're making them mad. Maybe we're making them sad. I don't know. It's
We'll find
fun.
out.
Maybe we're making them laugh.
Hopefully. So why don't we talk a little bit about who we are as individuals and why we're here on this recording today. I'll go first. My name's James. I am me.
Listeners at home, James is having an existential crisis. His eyes have rolled into the back of his head. His eyebrows fell off. Nothing else, though.
I should not have volunteered to go first because, wow, this is such a deep and existential question. But I guess, what you can expect from me from this show is I'm a pretty big nerd. I'm a big time like world builder and storyteller. So I like to kind of analyze the show from like, obviously the supernatural and paranormal angles that this show is known for. If you look at any blog, you'll find like pages and pages about how vampires run this city and about how Dawson is actually a cyborg and an android from another dimension who's been installed within Capeside. And that's really kind of, the kind of fresh perspective that I bring to Cape Side. What about you guys? What do you bring to this show?
Well, hello everyone. I'm Mal, and I am a lover of fashion. And for all of you listeners who are fellow fashion fanatics, I will be here for you. I'm going to do my best to talk about all of the amazing 90s fashion that we get to see on Dawson's Creek. I've heard that there are some great haircuts that happen throughout the seasons, and we'll be talking about that. Also, some great 90s music and just everything 90s. We love the 90s.
VH1, please do not sue us.
All right, everyone. My name is Stella. I'm here because I also, I was born in 1990, and
Represent.
you know it. And I also love the 90s, and wish we all could permanently just live in the 90s. So it's like I feel like I watched a lot of 90s TV growing up and then as like a young adult. But this was one, I definitely kind of missed. And so I'm excited to really kind of revisit that 90s nostalgia and kind of like pick up on some 90s culture that maybe I missed as a kid. I'm also excited about the music and fashion and to talk about that. And I also, I work with people and as most people do.
I don't know what you mean. I exclusively work with robots.
I work with aliens.
Oh boy.
The next time I'm in a job interview and someone asks, why are you qualified for this job? I'll say, well, I have a history with working with people. And before I even finish that last all on people, their faces will just rip right off of their skulls in excitement. Say no more. You are hired. You work with people?
That's exactly the kind of experience we're looking for here at bigcorp.com.
What kind of people? Big people, small people, all the people. Stella, tell us the type of people that you've interacted with on a professional level, on a social level.
Are they vampires?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, vampires technically aren't people because they're dead.
Undead. God, your inexperience is showing, Cody.
I haven't worked with vampires. That's one area that I'm lacking.
you
I'll
don't
own up
know.
to it. Here's the thing. I would say I thrive on social interactions and relationships, and I'm excited about the relationships in this show and watching them grow, form, evolve. That's why I'm here.
Last but not least, it's me. Hi, I'm Cody. Why am I qualified to be a podcaster about Dawson's Creek? Well, I could be pretentious and say I went to film school and I'm a produced screenwriter. But the truth is that I am a natural couch potato. I have spent my entire life indoors watching TV. If someone were to ask me to go outside and enjoy the beautiful weather, I would say, why bother when you could just sit on that couch and just watch comfortably in your own home, different worlds. And I like all genres. I love action. I love drama. I love suspense. But what I love the most is just schlock and teenage love. And for whatever reason, Dawson's Creek is one that slipped through my fingers. It was never a part of my life. But I do like the Paula Cole song, and I do like James Van Der Beek when he cries in memes. So figured, why not? I want to know what the hype was all about. I love looking at different forms of media from different ages and trying to understand the lens and the contexts in which they came from and finding appreciation in it. And again, 6th episode of this show, I thought Dawson's Creek was something else. If I had any idea how horny and disgusting this show would be, I probably would have chosen this. But I love it. I'm loving every second of it. Guys, Dawson's Creek, Is it the best show of all time? 6 episodes in? I'm going to say no. But I am enjoying it.
Okay, so I guess then the question is like what made us decide to do this show?
We love our rapport with each other talking about The Bachelor. We didn't want to do The Bachelor. We want to talk about something. What's something that we could talk about week after week that would be a good excuse to hang out, really? Because that's all we're doing at the end of the day, folks. And you want to be our friends too. And then we go from there. We're like, what is something that we could latch onto that would be new and fresh for all of us to talk about? And because of our mutual love and desire for 90s nostalgia and aesthetics, we landed on the one thing that we all haven't seen, Dawson's Creek by Kevin Williamson.
Now, I guess, that's as good a transition as any. You mentioned that we're 6 episodes in, and for the listeners, that's a cue. We actually recorded a lot of this long before you are going to be listening to this. We are in a backlog, and part of that is because we wanted to figure out what this show was before we actually released it. So I'm going to ask you all, what is this show like? What is the format of this show? What can listeners expect from this show when they tune in for that first episode?
Well, if you're a person that works with people, you can probably deduce that this show it's a very straightforward show. Y'all, we're going to be going in episode by episode, and it's structured with our initial thoughts, our reactions, how did we feel about the episode, but then we get into the nitty gritty. We're going to do scene by scene analysis. We're talking about what posters are on Dawson's wall, what kind of shorts are Joey wearing, what kind of creeks are in Dawson, what kind of Dawsons are in the creeks. We will get it all and everything. And
what are people's last names?
You know what? When I started Dawson's Creek, I kept asking myself, what are these people's last names? And you know what? I now know 2 of them. And by the time we get done with our episode analysis, we give a big old review from each of our perspectives. 5 out of 5, a 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 1 out of 5. Sometimes we get into decimal points to give those ratings. And then we finish it off with a recommendation of something that has nothing to do with Dawson's Creek. So you can leave feeling uplifted and having a nice time that has nothing to do with Dawson's Creek.
It's great.
I'll add that, in the beginning, our first few episodes, I would say, we're figuring it out. This is our
working out the kinks.
Yeah, this is our first time recording a podcast, and it's not as easy as it seems.
Yeah.
So I would say that the first few might be a little rough ride, but we figure it out and figure out a rhythm, and I think we're getting better, and it's becoming a little bit easier for us to figure out where we're going in this creek,
where we're rowing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. When we first started the show, we were really just kind of winging it, trying to figure it out as we were going. And now we definitely have a better idea, but that's also, probably where we're at now versus where we'll be at the end of this season are very different places. So, we appreciate your patience as we figured out. But, as an example, just recently we started playing sound clips that we've captured while we're watching the episode, funny little bits and pieces from the scenes, and then we pull them out and talk about them and help us kind of recontextualize the scenes as we're playing through it in our analysis. So, we're figuring it out and we're taking feedback. So if you have any thoughts about how we can improve, we're all ears. We'd love to hear it. Feel free to share that with us on our email. That is show@freaksandcreeks.com. Our website, that is freaksandcreeks.com. It's got all sorts of good content on there. It's got all of our episodes and our show notes, our recommendations, our ratings, all of our links, everything you can find there. You can also find us on social media. We are at Instagram at Freaks and Creeks Pod. That's all one word. It's easy to find. Got great content. It's very funny, and you can find all of us there as well. Look in the show notes. You'll find all of the links that you'll need, and we really, really look forward to seeing you in our next episode, our very, very first episode. That is going to be Season 1, Episode 1, The Pilot. of Freaks and Creeks, a Dawson's Creek podcast. We'll see you then.